Alright, in today's video I want to talk about 6 JRPG titles that I want to see and learn more about in E3 2021. E3 has always been a big event when it comes to gaming, and you always get new and interesting announcements from E3. There are also a lot of games outside the JRPG genre that I want to see as well. I'm looking at you, Metroid Prime 4, but for this video I'm going to focus on upcoming JRPG titles. Alright, the first game I want to see at E3 is Shin Megami Tensei 5. I believe it was first announced in 2017 and the long wait is almost over. What we do know is that Sega is going to be present at E3, which I am really excited about. Maybe we get a new Yakuza title, or maybe more information about the new Sonic game, who knows. But out of all the Sega games I want to see SMT5 the most. The last time we saw anything about Shin Megami Tensei 5 was probably around last summer, and that was just a cinematic trailer, so we still don't know much about it. What I would like to see is a release date, because it's coming out this year, but most importantly I want to see some gameplay. SMT is such a cool franchise, and if I'm not mistaken, Shin Megami Tensei 5 will be the first HD mainline SMT game, and E3 is the perfect stage to show off this amazing franchise, as well as garnering attention for those that are unfamiliar with SMT. Next up we have Grandblue Fantasy Relink. Now I don't know much about Grandblue Fantasy. What I do know is that it is a popular Japanese mobile game developed by Cygames. In 2016 they announced that they were going to release an action RPG of Grandblue Fantasy for the PS4, and it was supposed to be co-developed by Platinum Games. Unfortunately their development didn't go well and Platinum decided to back off from the project. There was quite a long radio silence from Cygames, but they decided to handle the rest of the game's development. And last year they had an event where they showed off some gameplay, as well as announcing a 2022 release window for the PS5 as well as for the PS4. Now I do think it is highly unlikely that we're going to see Grandblue at this year's E3. I mean, it is developed by Cygames and they're known for making Japanese mobile games, but I do think E3 is a perfect stage to garner more Western attention and interest. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't know much about Grandblue, and I believe many people are like me who don't know much about this franchise. What we've seen so far looks great and it seems like a really fun action RPG. Alright, the next game I want to see at E3 is Pokemon Legend Arceus. It wasn't really that long ago that Game Freak announced a new open world Pokemon game, and I'm really interested to see more information about it. What we saw back then was quite limited and it looked like it was in its early alpha stage. Pokemon Legend is the first mainline Pokemon game that has gone outside the typical Pokemon formula, something that I've always wanted for a long time because the mainline series has been quite repetitive. I've talked about this before, but I've always wanted more RPG elements from the mainline series. I like the idea of Pokemon Legends, but I'm not sure if Game Freak can deliver an open world RPG Pokemon game, and what we saw during the announcement wasn't really that impressive from a performance viewpoint. That is why I want to see Pokemon Legends at E3, to see if there has been any improvement, because Pokemon Legend Arceus is coming out soon. I believe January, so there's not much time left. I really want to see this game succeed because I really like the idea of Pokemon Legends, and hopefully they can build something off of it. Next up we have both Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Now Final Fantasy XVI was announced last year during the reveal of PS5, and since then we have not seen much of it. So far we have seen cinematics as well as some gameplay. It is Business Division 3 who are working on Final Fantasy XVI. It is the same division that are working on Final Fantasy XIV Online, and right now I guess they're very busy working on both the new expansion and walker for Final Fantasy XIV, as well as developing Final Fantasy XVI. Now Square Enix is going to be present at E3, so I'm hoping for a new Final Fantasy XVI trailer. In particular, I want to see more of a gameplay trailer, like how exactly is the battle system going to work? Will we have party members? Is it going to be open world or more of a linear type of game with heavy emphasis on action? Maybe a release window? There are a lot of questions and hopefully they'll answer some of them soon. Besides Final Fantasy XVI, I also want to see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. In particular, I'm hoping that they will reveal a release date or a release window. Right now they're pushing Intergrade, which is around the corner as of this recording. Unfortunately I don't own a PS5 and I'm still crying about it every day. If I'm not mistaken, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 takes place right after Intergrade, and it's going to have a different setting from the first game. We're finally going to leave Midgard to see more of the world of Final Fantasy VII. I don't want to go into spoiler territory, but the direction they're heading is quite bold, and I'm really interested to see how it all pans out. Right now we're waiting for a proper announcement, and hopefully they'll do it at E3. Alright, the last game I want to see at E3 is Digimon Survive. Digimon Survive was first announced in 2018, and since then we have had some updates here and there. It was supposed to be released in 2019, but it got delayed to 2020, and then COVID came, so they had to delay it to 2021. Digimon Survive is a strategy RPG with elements of a visual novel. From what I've seen so far, the game is very story driven. If I'm not mistaken, you can take multiple paths, and it is supposed to have more of a mature and dark tone, which sounds really interesting. I do feel like the Digimon franchise has been on a rise as of late, especially when it comes to the Digimon games. Obviously they're not perfect, but they do have, in my opinion, one of the best monster collecting features out there, and I've talked about this before in previous videos. Anyways, Bandai Namco is going to be present at E3, and I really hope they finally announce a release date for Digimon Survive. And there we go, 6 JRPG titles that I want to see at E3 2021. Let me know what games you're looking forward to seeing at E3, it doesn't necessarily have to be JRPGs. But that is all I have for today. More videos are coming, so take care, and I'll hopefully see you guys next time.